One of the first things you always want to ask your significant partner is what kind of clothes do they have for professional events? If you're a person that wants to achieve things in life, you have to go to certain events. And the more you want to achieve, the more you have to go to these events because these events are family events created by family money. Even when you're an engineer and you want to go somewhere where all the engineers are hanging, it's going to be a family bankrolled event. You cannot get around it. You cannot avoid it. It is a family event sponsored by family money. You have no choice. But the lie that we tell in the Black community is this doesn't happen. The reason we tell this lie is because the just enough brothers, I only want to do just enough. I only want to live just enough. I don't want to leave my child no legacy. See, the just enough brother is thinking about himself and his current 2 year situation. The just enough brother is thinking about his current just enough situation. Why is he thinking about his just enough situation? Because everybody else thinks family. Just enough brother thinks about his current winning situation. Same is true of just enough sister. Just enough sister is trying to do just enough. She's only trying to date the guys who accept her just enough ways. She's not trying to be an adult over 28. She's not trying to be responsible. She's constantly trying to put herself in a situation where she can say to somebody, you supposed to do that for me. In a situation where she can say, you supposed to, you supposed to Mr. Parrott, there's no reason to read Obama's book. Obama has nothing uh, to say to the Black community. So, no, we're not reading it. Um, so that's where the thing is. The thing is, you have people on both sides who are only doing just enough. And one way you can find this out is when you are having a date with somebody, your first 2 or 3 conversations need to be about how you as a guy, listen to me, are planning on moving forward with this woman. And for you women, your first 2 or 3 conversations need to be what is the intentions of this man? Now, women, you got to start doing that because most of you don't have daddies. Let's be real. So you need to start thinking, what would daddy, what would my ideal father say? Maybe not my personal father, but what would Leave It to Beaver's father say? Excuse me, young man, what are your intentions with my daughter? What do you plan on doing? And the minute he says, I'm just seeing what happens, leave that person alone. Go get with somebody who has a plan. The problem is women are afraid of men with plans. And this is how suits come into play. This is how suits come into play. Women are intimidated by a guy with a plan because his plan doesn't waver for her. I'm speaking facts. Click the thumbs up. Click the thumbs up, and I'm going to continue. Please click the thumbs up, and I'm going to continue. You see, when he has documented plans, When he has things that he's trying to achieve, he doesn't waver his plans to suit her. That's a man that's on his purpose. That's what being on your purpose is all about. Yes, you may care about this woman, but what you're not going to do is destroy what you're trying to do to make sure that she floats first. Well, if you're a real man, you would know you're not going to be able to shame us. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. We're just going to remove ourselves from what you're talking about. And this is where wearing a suit comes into play. A lot of guys, women are intimidated when you ask them about a suit. A lot of guys are intimidated when you ask them about a suit. The reason being is because they know they don't go to these events. They know they don't have no connections because in order to go to these events, in order to be part of these connections, got to wear a suit. And if you don't have a suit, you're not there where big business is being spoken. Your man knows that, lady. Your man is well aware of that. That's why he does just enough. Mosman, I'm going to send you a link through your email. But that's why they do just enough. You see, every man has a blazer, maybe a couple of blazers, depending on the situation. Because he knows in order to get into certain places, he has to have the visual access. I don't even like bow ties. I can't stand bow ties. Guess what? I got a wooden bow tie. I got a handmade wood bow tie for just the occasion. I don't like cufflinks, but I got cufflinks. And your man, your just enough man, doesn't like this. Because your just enough man says, you don't need to do that to make money. Who said that was to make money? That's for connections. Well, what's the purpose for connections? Money. Nope. The purpose of connections is for long term financial security, not short term. Not short term. Long term financial security. That's the purpose of that. So, this is where the problem comes in. The problem comes in is that you have a lot of people who are unsure about this other side of the world that you women want to be part of. You women want your man to be part of big business conversations and you want that. But you got to look and see what's in this dude's closet. This dude may not be ready for all that. This dude may not be ready for all of that. And now here you are. Hey, Mosman, send me an email because I need to make sure which email is yours. So send me an email and I'll send you back one. And by the way, Mosman, today is Wednesday because you were supposed to send me something by Wednesday. But yeah, so your man is afraid of a suit. He's talking down on a suit because he doesn't use it. That's not part of what he's trying to do. He's trying to do just enough. If I go to a city hall event, city hall, and I work in technology, you think they're going to let me come in with my hood? Do you think they're gonna let a white guy come in with his flannel shirt and khaki pants? No. Gotta be the proper dress attire at this city hall event. Now, I'm not talking about a city hall event where somebody just walks up to hear somebody's speech. I'm talking about an event where there's food, there's liquor, there's business being discussed. Because the best time for you to talk business is when people are relaxed. It ain't the best time for talk business is not while everybody is at the job tensed up. That ain't the best time to talk business. But your man should know that. And the same thing is true of these women. You're interacting with women and you're unsure. You're very unsure of the moves they making. Got to ask yourself, why are you with this woman? Yeah, you sent it earlier today. Well, that's not how you spell Gmail. That's a K, not an L. So I hope you didn't send it to that. And you got to put an at symbol at Gmail. So I hope you sent it that way. I didn't see it because I'm in my mail right now. But that's the whole point, gentlemen. The whole point is how are they looking at what y'all talking about? And women, the same thing is true. How are men looking at what you talking about? If I want to take you to a black tie event, woman, you can't wear the dress you want to dress. You got to wear a little black dress. And I mean little. We can't squeeze you into one. That isn't how this works on a higher level lane. It just don't work like that. I get your man don't like suits because he don't want to be involved in these type of conversations. Your man want to wear sneakers and he wants to be a boy. He wants to be a boy. And it's your fault, woman, because you keep picking him. Don't blame the rest of the black men. You picked that dude. You knew what that dude was doing. You knew what he was talking about. You knew what type of nonsense he was on. Don't blame all black dudes. It's your fault. We blame you. We blame you. So let's dig into this. There's several types of blazers you can get. The best blazer for you to get is a brown blazer. Brown blazer goes with everything for every situation, every occasion. When you get a brown blazer, you don't have to wear a tie. You can wear a t-shirt. But people like to see the presentation of a blazer. You guys walk around and you want to be able to have these higher level conversations, but they not letting you in the front door because you don't have the appearance. And you walking in, but I got $200,000. Don't matter. You're gonna have to pay the bouncer extra out of your pocket because he just sees you as a worker. Mosman, what are your thoughts?
Salute, Mr. Research. Well, um, the wardrobe is important. You got to look the part so that people can trust you before you open your mouth.
Hold on, stop right there. So that the white and Asian and every other nationality can let you in the door, right?
Indeed.
Because their families control the door, right?
Indeed.
Last question. I'm gonna let you rock after that. Can an independent person outdo these families?
Not at all.
Thank you.
In regards to battling and competing and trying to succeed, You're going up against years and years and years and years of forward-thinking, confident individuals who had a plan that that were okay with not even seeing the results in their own lifetime. How can you go up against that as a single person? You're not Thanos.
People who were taught plant a tree and don't expect any shade from it, but your great grandson will be able to lay back and listen to the birds as he eats apples from the tree. That's
Super
what
poetic.
that's what the white man wants. His children to be managers of your children. Let me say it again. The white man don't care if you sleep with his wife. He might get envious about his daughter, but he'll darn near give you his wife. He only got with her for family connections, business connections. The fact she went to Harvard. He's not with her because no. So what he really wants is your land and your property. What he really wants is to buy your company out or have you fail so he can get you for cheap. He don't care about all this other stuff that you. And how did I find that out, Mostman? Being in a room full of heavy hitting white guys and just listening. But I needed a suit to be in there. Go ahead, Mostman.
It doesn't get much plainer than that. It's as if a lot of gentlemen are, I don't want to say afraid, but it's as if we're afraid of who we could be in that room. We're afraid of mentally competing and trying to outthink because there's something in us that knows that we can't or we are unwilling to. Maybe it's the unwillingness. It's you really don't know who you can be unless you put yourselves in position to become even 1% better.
But I tell you who you
Otherwise,
but I tell you who you can't be. You can't be in this room without following that family protocol.
very true.
Actual factual, you normally disagree with me. Somebody gave me a down thumb. Was that you, actual? You hate me that much, bro? Okay. I'm still gonna let you speak. Go ahead, sir.
Oh man. Oh my
Busted!
goodness.
Busted! Busted!
This man knows how to introduce you to get you all off wares, man. Oh man, I love it. My brother's trying to keep me on my toes.
Well, look, this is good training because when you run into the actual white man on that level, you'll already have went toe to toe with your bro, Mr. Research. So you'll know how. Oh, this feels like a Mr. Research question.
Yes, yes, indeed. And it is so funny that you bring that up because I've had that happen here recently on the job, uh, particularly with one who's very, very crafty. But I don't want to digress from the
Well,
topic.
was I able to help you? Was you able to fall back on some of the things that I've shared?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
When it got down to the fourth,
Wolf rule number one, sir. Control your tongue.
oh man, yeah, yeah. And I should have
Go
let
ahead.
him. I should have let him hang himself out to dry, because he wasn't controlling his tongue. He was. He got to the point where he was asking others about what department he helps with, like who he actually works for, even though he's been working in conjunction with us, and that's part of his job. Uh, and what I should have did, Mister Research, in controlling a mouth, I should have, when he started doing that unprofessional thing, instead of engaging, I should have said, well, you let me know that you can't help me or that you won't help me. So since this is the case, my supervisor will be back. My direct supervisor will be back tomorrow. It's the end of our discussion. I don't have anything more to say. If you want to engage in this, you're fine. and walked out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just like a woman, you state what you state and walk away.
Yeah.
You don't give them ammunition because you know what that person's doing right now? Trying to find allies to use what you said against you 3 weeks from now.
Right. Now, I didn't say anything inflammatory, obviously, because I'm smarter than average bear on that end. But I raised my voice, and it involved me. I should have stopped it. Right. That stopped thing. That would have stopped it. And like you said, him trying to act like he had allies. Now, what did happen, because he went above board, and I did end up leaving, but I raised my voice, was that he brought in witnesses. So even though I
Oh.
didn't say anything disrespectful or unprofessional, he let his own behavior be seen. So
Well, here's the problem, though. Here's the
go
problem.
right here.
Depending on whether they're good friends of his, they're not going to say what they actually saw. They're going to get together and fabricate a different thing. And the first question they're going to say, now watch this, Mosman. Actual, factual, why would the other two gentlemen lie?
Good question. And guess what? So follow up with that. So he did it from the PM. Now the PM typically, the PM, not typically, but he is seen as oversight over the whole job. So he trumps everybody. So as far as personnel on the job there, so he even trumps him. He can tell him to go home if he finds him insubordinate. The PM is a inexperienced first time, and he looks like he's either first or second gen from some type of Arab country. Who we discussed this. They're group family people. So he's kind of treated me. He's been cordial, but I can tell he's got that. He's from the Arab country, so I know what I know. And I just know how he view us. So, but what ended up happening, because he asked him, "Hey, do I work for this department?" That grandstanding. He did it in front of him, and he, as you instructed me, you said, "Hey, don't stick your out there without knowing where the knives are at." Well,
There you go.
Even though I did raise my voice, I just raised my voice and said, "Listen, man, you're part of, we work with you," and I left. The PM came back to me. I'm walking. This is the next day. My supervisor's there, so I didn't tell my supervisor about it. So the PM came to me, and he stopped me and he said, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna write him up, or write a complaint." And he said, "I saw what happened in there. I witnessed it," because he asked him. He did the same unprofessional behavior with him, but he just didn't check him. And the PM said, "Hey, listen, he's like, hey, I'm gonna do this. He's gonna get a verbal warning, and hey, maybe if I need to use you as a witness, because I seen that, because he did it with me later, can use you this, that, and the third." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, if you wanna, that's fine with me, and tell me what comes of it." So
Okay,
he
start
did
right
that.
there. Start right
Go
there.
right
Start
ahead.
right
Go
there.
ahead. Go ahead.
Because I'm about to ask Mosman a question, but I got to make a statement.
Mhm.
Everybody, get ready for another CA Latre solution. The next thing actual factual should do is pretend that he is a little 4-foot white girl. Actual factual should pretend he's a little 4-foot white girl. What does a 4-foot white girl need? Protection. I'm a victim. Actual factual needs to get into his mind, Mosman, as this situation developed. Well, can I have some? Can I go to HR and ask for some paperwork in my file too? Because I just don't want no retaliation. I just want to make that I stated this, you know. So I'm just. So can I go down to HR? I don't want no problem. I just want to make a statement that on this day, December 30th, I made a statement to help Mr. Gajadi in what happened on December 13th. So I just want it in my file. Mosman, what are your thoughts on what actual factual said?
Well, it's good that you suggested that, because you're covering your tracks publicly by stating, "Hey, I want these things in paperwork, documented." Like, as weird as it sounds to feel like a white woman, you're covering your tracks for the future so that you don't have to worry about anything. If I'm interpreting all of that correctly?
Absolutely. When I said cover yourself like a little 4 foot white girl, black men got to start thinking he's delicate in these business situations. Stop thinking you invincible. That's what they want you to think. Because the people you're going up against use passive aggressiveness very good. Somebody ended a contract that I had one time because the janitor that normally comes, he was off. And this woman janitor from another location came over. The video shows me sitting the entire time eating cereal. We have no audio on the video. The woman is walking back and forth frantically, which she was doing before I arrived in that area. But the Indian guy said to me, well, we reviewed the video and it looked like she was disturbed. She said you said this and she said you said that. I said, I don't even know this lady. I have no vested interest to do that. Well, why would she lie? It doesn't matter why would she lie. She's new to our building. Well, I've had some other complaints. Okay, what we don't do is bring up alleged other complaints when this complaint is falling on its face. The video shows me sitting more than 5 yards away from this woman. I'm not in a threatening position. There's a chair to my right, even furthermore separating me from where she's at. So what are we talking about? Well, we just gonna have to end this and let you go. Interesting. Because you're in a contract, you have no power. Let's go back to Mosman one more time before we go to actual factual. What are your thoughts?
That's why you don't go and do temp work.
Oh
Get in
no,
positions.
this is contract. This is a contract, Mosman.
Contracts can be broken by those who have power, unfortunately.
Well, contracts are temp jobs. That's all they are. I was being facetious, but
Of course.
contracts are temp jobs. Let's go back to actual factual. He's holding long enough. Actual, go ahead, sir.
Indeed. So my supervisor gets back. My supervisor, he catches the supervisor's that Frenchman. So he catches me and the Arab guy. I wish the Arab guy had he's a PM, so I wish he would have took me aside somewhere where it was more confidential. But anyway, he took me aside somewhere where we could kind of be seen. So my supervisor intercepted it and he said, he's going now he went by protocol. Very good. He was like, hey, listen, I don't want to stop you guys though. If you have complaints, you guys, for sure write it up. But I could tell his hesitation was that he didn't really want it on a job that's about to end. You don't want this. He didn't really want that black eye. But it's so interesting because his wife had a blow up with him again, and his wife came up to me, the supervisor. Now this guy, he's pissing supervisors' wives off. He got into it with the experienced PM when he came back on the job. Told him he's engaging in unprofessional behavior. So he's having all this stuff happen where he's like you told me, he's sticking his out there, and he is crafty, but he's sticking his stuff out there, and he's being foolish. He's casting it off to this wind. He's going to step on enough toes to where he's not going to have people. He's not winning any alliances. I don't think he's got some just based off countrymen. We'll say that, but it's dwindling because he keeps sticking it out there and he keeps stepping on toes. He doesn't. I'll say this, and maybe you can infer on this, and I'll end it right here. He does not. He avoids having to say something to me because he knows that was coward behavior. he he's been avoiding having to say stuff to me. And I don't know if it's because my supervisor, because I did see him and my supervisor talking. I don't know if it's because my supervisor told him to back the heck away or what.
A lot of times, non-blacks are expecting black people to get mouthy. Like, yeah, I bet you won't say nothing next time, that type of stuff. And the calculated black man, the 7.0 brother, he's beyond the 3.0 brother. The 3.0 brother just wants to have a voice. 7.0 brother, he's calculated. This is the middle part of chess. This is not the beginning part of chess. This is not the ending, capturing the king. This is the middle part where the real work happens. The 3.0 brother, he don't understand this. He's happy just vocalizing. I want to be heard. Can't do that. Not when you dealing mentally with other males. Because people are trying to get Mosman on their team to work against Mr. Research. People trying to offer actual factual something so they can get rid of me, Mr. Research. But then you got to ask, okay, if I get rid of Mr. Research, y'all coming at me next? I tell you what, I don't need the extra money. Let me not just be involved with whatever what y'all got going on. But it's $3,000. I'm good, homie. It's $5,000. Don't want to be involved.
But you already know, Mr. Research, they use leverage like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
You are sometimes it's not even we're gonna give Mr. Lewis another $3,000 raise. I've seen, and this is why now, unfortunately, and this is why I want black men to solidify whatever we got going on in the manosphere in a more constructive way, because I had to take myself.
No. Follow the brand in a more 7.0 way.
Yes, in a 7.0 way. I've had to, for that I've seen that are about that stuff and are sharp, like a Mr. Research, I've had to step back away from them because I don't want upper man. Because what happens is, especially if we have a rapport, it's like a threat, and it's only two of us. So I've had to go. Listen, you got to temp all that. It can't be. You gotta. You're professional, but you already know how it goes. It intersects, because that's how you get networks. That's how people build up their networks. White boys do it all the time. Excuse me.
All the time.
But I have to step back from Mr. Research and go, how you doing, Mr. Research? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. And basically let my work speak for itself and stay out of his face, because it's a threat. What is he gonna teach him? Oh, well, it'll be like this. It won't be $3,000, Mr. Research. It'll be like this. Well, Sam, I seen you guys talking, even though, that's on the time, somebody was concerned because such and such saw you and she felt uncomfortable, and they'll do it like that. And a brother will be so, bring him to his knees so much that he'll be like, that's where you see the turning against each other or just the indifferent. You'd be like, well, what's up with him?
Yeah.
He is scared because he got a full-fledged family.
Yeah.
He's like, man, hey, listen, he's just a cool guy. It ain't worth it. Scary. Just like
he wants to come over to you and insert himself because his situation is rocky at home.
It could be. But the thing is that it should sound familiar. It should sound like the manosphere, because it's like listen, I don't want him messing up the little nickel I get from Boss Man. I don't want him messing up my nickel. I already got to divide my nickel up with my woman, my side woman, my kid. I got car payment. You know how it go.
Hold on for a minute. Let's go back to Mosman. Mosman, what are your thoughts, sir?
It's about outthinking. How do you outthink your opponent and use your relationships to help everybody? Because the points you're making, as far as putting me on your team or giving you positions or trying to take people out, that's a philosophy that I have when I go throughout life. I, as a singular so-called black man, I'm facing this non-black person. How is my behavior going to affect their viewpoint of the next so-called black man that they're going to meet after me? So I have to think past my individualism and help out somebody I don't even know yet?
Because your individualism, and I was talking to some Africans today, you guys watch out for that upload once I chop it up. Once the Massa on the plantation, I'm going to ask Mosman first. Massa on the plantation, how was he able to hold 30 slaves on the plantation, on an open plantation with no walls, when all he had was one overseer, his wife, and his daughter?
The inferiority complex, or the threat of death, or just some sort of mental spell that he holds on them.
Nope. I'll give you a hint. It has to do more so with us than anything outside of us.
Our lack of using our collective numbers against a weak slave owner with a whip.
Okay, that's fair enough. Actual factual. What are your thoughts? The one a white man, Massa, got one other overseer, the wife and the daughter, but 30 slaves are staying in place. What are your thoughts? Actual factual.
Generally, from my readings, it's usually through a form of references of mental protocols or controls. Just
Go
like
deeper.
said.
Go deeper.
So he generally, from what I've read, he uses tactics or things like this is use the mistrust. He's going to elevate one clearly over the other.
Good job.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're really seeking, though, I'm gonna mix the two of you guys. Tribalism amongst blacks. Clicking amongst blacks. The Mosman clique versus the actual factual clique versus the actual factual wife clique versus Moses mama clique. And what Massa does, he just makes you constantly fight each other. So you pay more attention to each other, getting each other in trouble, than you do being free. Let me say it one more time. He has you constantly fight each other. He knows he has the power of the woman's mouth, which is why he spends his time messing with Mosman's mom or messing with actual factual's wife. He knows that the wife or the mom is going to verbally browbeat you guys to death. And while you're spending 2 months wondering how you're going to take each other out or fight each other after all this cotton is picked, I'm taking my daughter on a nice stroll to get a sundae at the local downtown place, which is a 40-minute horse carriage ride. Mosman, what are your thoughts?
Pass. I'm thinking about that because I'm trying to digest it.
Actual factual, what are your thoughts?
I was trying to get where the question was on that. You were saying that he took her down for Sunday.
So here's what it is. It's the same thing. I'm gonna round it around to this title of Suits, but in Massa understood this about Africans. Africans are so caught up in tribal bullshit that they don't focus that the enemy is looking at them all as black.
Oh, okay, I got you on that. Yeah, that which was led to our undoing, unfortunately, and so
still to this day.
Yeah, to a degree. I was explaining to my mom one time, that was such a disruption in our history from wherever we came from, indigenous or otherwise, that's why other Africans, when they come over here, I don't care if they are Igbo, whatever the case may be, they look at us strange because they are tied to those things. But it was such a disruption, man. That woman getting raped, or man, that man, Billy Joel just ran for the third time. He got his leg cut off, like Master said he would. It was such a disruption that it was like, man, we just trying to survive. I don't care if I'm a Khan, if you're a Sante, it didn't matter. It broke all that up in a way. It did, but like you just said, he was so as Dr. Clark calls him, the evil genius, that he said, "Well, I'll break it up, but I will inject other things. I will replace it with some other protocol."
So today we have Crips and Bloods. Today we have the west side of Chicago versus the north side of Chicago. Today we have, and don't realize that everybody just gets looked at as black. Shout out to Sammy in the chat room. We said those sharecroppers had contracts and they were paid. No. Sharecroppers were allowed. My father's mother was a sharecropper. This is how I know personally. Sharecroppers were allowed to work the land in order to have a place to live, a house, but you had to work the land. You can look at the movie with Cuba Gooding Jr., where he's the scuba diving guy. He's
Men of
out
Honor.
there. Yeah, Men of Honor. He's out there plowing the field. The little boy runs back and says, "Daddy, he gonna take it away if we don't get it plowed today." And he got out there, "Yeah, mule, yeah." That's what sharecropping was. You got to live there. Now, if KIF, maybe, possibly, could be, if the product, the corn or whatever was being planted, came in all good, meaning all of the seeded rows came in good, you might be able to turn a profit, and depending on what your contract was. But that depends on how much came in. There's plenty of people who sharecropped, didn't turn no profit, and were just allowed to live and wait for next season because the owner took all of the product and sold it and broke even, and it covered their time for that year on at the house. But you remember in the movie when the little boy said Master gonna get another family in here where the children work too. That's how you know it was more than just a they got paid thing. That had to do with how they lived. But welcome to the Mr. Research Show. I actually read all these darn books and got this stuff in my head. Mosman, what are your thoughts, sir, now?
How do we compete against that?
I don't know. Let me go back to Sammy one more time. Sammy says, Mr. Research, you're incorrect regarding sharecropping. Sharecroppers also enjoyed a portion of the spoils. Once again, if all the rows planted produce, depending on the contract. There's been many of people who had sharecropping situations where they was only able to cover the year's border meaning rent, the year for the rent. Because remember, they're boarding in the house under the thought process that they're going to share this product with Massa, and yeah, you'll get paid off that. But you got everything has to come in. I mean, you can't have no situations where a fox came and killed 30 of the chickens or 15 of the chickens, let alone 5 of the chickens. You can't have a situation where a storm came along and did whatever to the corn. That's not Massa's fault. So you were not guaranteed spoils every time. Growing stuff on a farm is a hard thing already. But I'm not saying you're entirely wrong. I'm just saying it wasn't as simply put together. Actual factual. What are your thoughts, sir? We're gonna go back to the suits.
Yeah, if you look at the migration, read some of the books on the migration patterns and thereafter, and me as well, my grandmother's father being a sharecropper and her picking bales and cotton and all those other things. Yeah, it was very little what was called subsistence going on with that whole situation and making a profit. You got some here and there. I'm sure Mr. Latreille, he's got family or he's got some friends, associates, their family. You got some here and there who actually acquired land and were able to do some things, but very few. When you look at the migration patterns and the Great Migration and them happening in two waves, going to Detroit, going to Kansas City like my people, going to different areas. Mr. Trey's out in the West Coast. His people probably went to the West Coast and helped with the World War II boom, right? Or something to that extent. If you look at a lot of the game bankers, Genesis, they're second gen over there. A lot of the brothers in LA, South LA, and a lot of their parents came GM, power plants, all that good stuff, man. So it very little, very, very little. And
So
yeah.
So going back to the suits, now that I connected all that, and Mosman says how we're going to win. Well, here's the thing, Mosman. We have to be connected. Man, I want to apologize to Jackman Law, PA. I was supposed to do a show with that guy some time ago, but we were supposed to talk about the legal system. You guys, when you need some legal situation going on, reach out to Jackman Law. He might not be able to help you, but at least he can point you in the right situation. And, if he points you in the right situation, go ahead and break that brother down some type of donation, man. That's Jackson Law, PA, man. Just reach out to your fellow brother on the internet and spend your money with him. If more black women would spend their money with black men will be economically empowered to defeat most police officers the minute they pull them over because they got lawyer money. Let's go back to this thing about suits. So I say to a lot of women, hey, look, your guy has to have a blazer, okay? Because I don't even play golf, and I got 4 golf shirts made of Pima material. I'm ready to go. I don't even like golf, but I know that's where the business happens. Mosman, what are your thoughts?
It's interesting you say that, being prepared. It was a few of your streams ago where you or maybe it was an old one. I go through a lot of your catalog to take notes, but you mentioned
because if you notice, I do delete them.
Yes, you do.
Go ahead.
You mentioned a Pima cotton shirt, and you said a cat you were talking to was like, "What was that? What's that?" So afterwards, I was looking for clothes in the Goodwill, and I saw a black shirt, and it felt really comfortable. It was awesome. I wear it a few days. I look at the back of the tag, and it ends up being a Pima cotton shirt. So it's interesting how the law of attraction works. But you're right. It's about being prepared for the situation and in improving your wardrobe and just looking more mature and to be accepted. Because that's where the money is.
You see, that's the difference between me and other people, and is that I'm trying to help you guys on Wednesday. You guys are looking at Wednesday as an obscure day. I mean, it's damn near the end of the day, but sometimes that's when the BS happens. And I don't think it's helpful for you guys to have me just read a book to you or tell you about some book from some book that somebody wrote in 1980, 1970. I got to give you stuff that applies to today. You guys, in whatever that you do, teacher, toilet cleaner, doctor, you got to go in there understanding rule number 1. Everything is about groups. If you don't believe that, you hurt yourself. Everything's about groups. An individual person it takes harder for. You're gonna win 3 years, 5 years, but come that 6th, 7th year, you're gonna be like, I ain't got no protection. But that's where the suit comes in handy, because now you get to go to that local event, that industry event, and you get to hobnob with people. But these people are not letting you in underdressed. It's not happening. If you go to a orgy, listen to me, a orgy, for you to get in the front door, shout out to the days that I used to go to the trapeze back in Atlanta. For you to even get past these two big 6'4" brothers, you have to have attire. Yes, your woman may have a long overcoat and be butt naked underneath that. But you, sir, you need to look like you belong. We don't allow no pimps in here. Actual factual. What are your thoughts?
So very vital. Yeah, having a suit is just like having another tool, a valuable tool that you're going to need on hand for the house. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. You're going to need at least a socket set. And that suit, what you're talking about in the beginning of your life, it aids in that situation. It's the same thing Kevin was talking about when he was encouraging young men and men in general with that, and the conversations in and around that. We're talking about, like you said, professional, social professional, where they intersect, like you talked about with golfing, business meetings. Where do you think all these things get cut? These deals and these men are having these ski trips with their wives. It's all connected and interrelated. These are not just separate things. And you'll find that out, like that's where the group thing happens. It's not just this Highlander belief that we feel like that we gotta have. That's not how it works. I was explaining that to my mother about families, legacy people. The legacy people versus the get the bag single people. What happens to them? You know.
Why not own the vault instead of secure the bag?
I'd like to chime in if I may. Good evening, everyone. The reason why being a lot of people don't like to try to gain the vote is because that requires a long-term view and a plan, a long-term plan. It's something that's not immediate, something that's going to take time. And a lot of times, too many people are too impatient to be able to gain the vote. And that's why you hear so many people who want to just quote unquote get the bag.
Agreed. I remember Mr. Research said something about gentlemen not thinking in 10-year cycles.
Yep.
And that really opened up my mind because I've been in a state of transition lately. So I've been in the 6-month mode as well, considering, we're in a pandemic world where the world is burning down, LOL. But it unlocked something in my brain to have more hope and to think of a system to be created within the next 10 years to build upon itself for the next 10 years and so on and so forth.
Hold on. Shout out to Tony. Thank you for the $100 Cash App. I do appreciate it. This level of conversation is amazing. Thank you, Tony. Mr. Actual Factual, can you read this definition here?
Yes, I can.
Please do so, sir.
Okay. Monolithic, the first definition, formed of a single large block of stone. The second definition, of an organization or system, large, powerful, and intractably indivisible, and uniform.
Mr. Mosman, humor me. Read number 2 again, sir.
Of an organization or system, large, powerful, and intricately, sorry, it's really small. I'm on my phone.
All right.
Intricately indivisible and uniform.
So, So, Mr. NC Worker, why do black people keep walking around saying black folks ain't monolithic? Let me transpose this for the three of you guys. Black folks ain't a large block of stone. Well, that's true. Black folks ain't a large system. Black folks ain't a large organization. Black folks ain't a powerful organization. Black folks ain't intractable. Black folks ain't indivisible. Black folks ain't uniform. And saying that proudly. Actual factual, what are your thoughts?
Oh, this goes right back to what we were saying with the plantation. Black people have been scared, and I will say at this point in time, cowardly. We explain it in from a cowardly position now, no longer with the threat of the lash. Sure, we have workplace racism and all these other things, but it is cowardly. I.e., I give you the Joe Biden phone call and black people in voting, and that man going to the state of GA right now and telling black folk they need to do what
You
he
ain't black.
said.
You ain't black. So here's the question I always ask, because I asked the African guy earlier on his channel, but he's a brother, but he's originally from Africa, but he's been here for quite a while. He said, I thought monolithic mean black people think the same. And I said to him, where do you see that in the dictionary? So Mosman, why are we saying things about the word monolithic that don't appear in no dictionary? Is it because Massa trained us to?
I don't think so.
So why are we saying black people ain't large and powerful? Why are we saying black people ain't uniform and indivisible? Black people ain't an organization.
Because it's all true, and I believe that those declarations are filled with energy of a defeatist mindset. You know, it's not only true, but it's the fact that it's true that puts us down, and the fact that there have been no conglomerates or friendly societies to help elevate our image in our community, maybe not as a whole, but in collective pockets. Because I think the community as a whole, I think we're done for, honestly, which is a bit grim.
So NC Worker, I just proved black people are verbally proud to say we are not large and powerful, we're individuals. Black people are proud to be individuals, NC Worker. How does that protect you in your industry if everybody else is working together? If all the Pakistanis are working together?
It doesn't. If anything, it hinders and damages me because now you're pretty much in no man's land. And when you're trying to fight other cultures for positions of power, well, it's one against possibly 4, 8, and all the way up.
But I got money. But I got money, NC Worker. I got 40 million. Who
Congratulations.
Who don't want to do business with a person who got 40 million?
I would, but that's not the point. The point is, just because you may have that 40 million, so you may have to go up against 10 million families that have 40 million each. Now what?
Right. Now what?
So that 40 million is only going to be compared to one family, but all the other families. So
or 40 families with $1 million each.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you never know which family may have another connection to another side of the family they may have another million. See, at the end of the day, we need to start thinking and being monolithic, just like other cultures. Because my thing is this: I don't care what other cultures really are. It's about the imagery and what they portray and what they display.
Exactly.
Because
so let's go to actual factual. Why is it that Ukrainians don't like Russians? I mean, Russians don't like Ukrainians. They both white, right?
Countrymen. And the separation.
Ah, they've been listening to this show for a while. That was too easy of a question for you. Yes, it's all about flag culture. They don't give a hell about skin color like that. But guess what? If it's all about you taking their land, who are they gonna bond with?
Oh, they will bond with that former adversary or current
Right.
adversary. They will do it, as you see evidence with Saudi Arabia and Israel.
Oh man. Look, how about Iran and the defeated Iraq? It's like great America there now, Mosman. Mosman, it's like an amusement park. Now that Saddam is dead, these people are having family trips going over to Iraq. These were former enemies. Mosman, these people are having go see a friend in Iraq Day because there are probably like what 14 or 20 different tribes, so to speak. But what a lot of people didn't know, even though Iraq and Iran are two different countries, the people are very similar of the same. And so for the first time in history, God, Dick Cheney has united the Iran and Iraq people. I'll put myself on mute. Mosman, take over, sir.
It's interesting how much order can be created out of chaos. You know, these people really have worked a number on our mentalities. But I think in order to move things forward, it has to be a numbers game in the sense that who are the 10 to 20 to, moving forward, 50 or 100? Who are the people around you that concretely have the same value system as you, or at the very least, sort of similar? Because not everybody is going to be the same 100%, but I think it's really hard to find people who are really committed and who can back you up. Like, for example, there's a lot of discussion about, oh, who amongst my circle can drop 5,000 on me tomorrow if I needed it, or anything like that. I can't tell you anybody in my circle, and that's somebody who I want to be for other people. But to
Right.
even begin to name somebody like that who isn't a full-fledged older adult, because I'm 25. There's no one around me that, in my knowledge, that can do that for me, and I obviously can't do that for them. But it starts there.
This is why, Mosman, we're so afraid of young blacks with opinions because there's nothing to back it up. If I take a loss on your opinions, you get to say, oh, well, and start over. I take an actual loss. NC Worker?
Yeah, this is true. I mean, when it comes down to it, we have to start having things back, information back, factually, and start presenting factual information towards one another, and stop all this hand-me-down information that's been spreading throughout the community.
Shout out to Sammy. Sammy says, I wanted to type a funny joke, monolithic, but there's no free speech in social media. You know what's so funny about all of this as we share with each other and build with each other? Free speech used to be about helping each other. Now the white folks have shown us the Fox News way of doing things. Say something slick in the mouth. Used to get shot for saying slick in the mouth stuff. Used to get beat with a golf club for saying slick in the mouth stuff. An axe handle used to get hit with. baseball bat you used to get hit with. Slick in the mouth comments was born out of Fox News. Nobody wanted to do that in media because it was seen as CRASS, crass. Actual factual.
I think you said it all right there. And as I tout often when I get a chance to get on your panel, it's about being constructive, coming to conclusions, solving problems, competency. So that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Mr. Mosman, you got to send that email one more time, sir. I still didn't get it. And, while he does that, let me say this. Ladies, this goes to the ladies because this video started off for ladies. Ladies, I'm not going to get with a woman who doesn't want to wear the sundress for me. I'm not going to get with a woman who doesn't want to wear the things that I like. My first date I just went on with this Puerto Rican girl. We talked about me liking boots. I said I like boots lightly. Guess what? For the date, she made sure she had those boots on. See, gone are the days, women, where you have to work with a brother. You should not be working with a brother. I got to make a video about that. You should not be working with a brother because we're not asking you to work with us. The only people who are asking you to work with them is Just Enough Brothers. People like Wee Wee, when he becomes Big W, he gonna lay down a law to you. Hey, I'm Big W, and this is how this goes down. Now, if you don't want to be part of this, sweetheart, get out my Mercedes, and I'll holler at you. No, it ain't no hate. It ain't no hate. You arrogant. Appreciate you, sweetheart. Appreciate you. Have a good day. See, now we're part of the Don't Care Club. That's what the wolf thing is all about. Focus on you, man. Mosman, are you ready?
I am ready.
Talk to the people, man.
I believe it's very imperative as men for us to have a vision of how we want to share our time with our women. It's important for us to have a vision on how we want them to behave and how we want them to compliment us. And it's important for us to have a vision of a life of peace, of progression and prosperity for our children and our grandchildren. It's changed now. I'll explain that. I had a goal of one day homeschooling my children. So between now and when I turn 35, because when I turn 35, I want to be able to have children if I want to. But between now and 35, I'm trying to think about some sort of financial system that can bring in enough cash flow to where I can sit down at home with me and my wife and homeschool my children if I want to. Now, by the time I'm able to have them, I'll still have things I want to do in the world, but I don't want to have to look at my children in their eyes and say, hey, kids, daddy has to, emphasis on has to, leave you now to go to work to earn money because he did not prepare for you while you were still at the baby store.
Now, we're going to get into two last topics. But before we do it, I want to see if I can show you guys this movie that, let me see if it pops up first. Yes. So I'm going to show you guys this movie that I gave $300 to. I didn't give a lot of money, but it's a guy from Oakland. He's a director. He got out there with his camera. He wanted to do something, and this movie is now sold on Amazon. I'll let you check out a piece of it, and then I'll tell you what it's about. And it's one of those things where black male imaging is important. Okay. And there's another movie that Spike Lee just produced that every black man should be talking about. but I'm going to talk about that in a second. So let me give you a piece of this information. Welcome to the Mr. Research Show, where I give you information you can actually use on Wednesday. Hold on for a second. And let's get you over there. And here we are. So please support the movie My Culture. You can go rent it for $2.99 at Amazon right now. It will be better for you to reach out to Mario Barbino Film and try to get it directly to him because Amazon takes such a nice cut. I think it's a 70-30 split. Amazon is pimping. Amazon is pimping. So check out My Culture, man. And what are your thoughts, NC Worker, before I tell you about the movie? What are your thoughts? NC Worker? Mosman, what are your thoughts before I tell you about the movie?
It looked very clean.
Very clean.
Yeah, the cameras looked very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hear too much about the audio, but the presentation was great. I mean, I don't exact. Well, I'll say this. I am tired of the drama hood storylines that we make. Now, I'm not. This isn't a direct comment towards him, just in people, in our community that make those types of films in general. And look, all types of films are needed.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like something different, like
Right.
maybe something with a more prosperous, positive environment relationship with different things. Let's get a little bit more creative. I know we make art based on our environment and our experiences. I would just like for us to not limit it to that. But then again, it's about what people like, and we got to make money, unfortunately.
Very true. Actual factual, what are your thoughts?
Interesting. So I'm assuming you know Mario, or you
No, he's just from the town. He was funding for money, and town business. I contribute to people trying to do what they do. The guy that helped Coogler write the first Black Panther, he did a movie here in West Oakland. I helped contribute.
I remember you.
So
that film.
Yeah, that movie's on Netflix now. And notice how the little disposable money I have, I give it for Black male causes, meaning that where the image of the Black man is going to come out as positive.
Now, that other group of people in that film, what nationality were they? Were they Puerto Rican?
Latin.
Okay. That's what
so it is a love story, because you guys couldn't really hear it. It's actually a love story. And it's about culture dynamics. It's very interesting how the black man really doesn't have a culture. He doesn't have a set of family norms for him to fall back on. But when you're getting with this Latina woman, she comes from a set of family norms.
Which makes our family stronger than us.
Right. So what are you going to do with your 12-inch penis as you got her spread wide open once this biracial baby comes? How are you going to make sure these Hispanic is going to see their grandson as taken care of? See, that's the problem. Because everybody's always looking at it like that. You got to stop being tank top Tony, find you a blazer, and get into some situations like Mosman just mentioned, where somebody does have $5,000 disposable to help you out. Any thoughts from anybody?
Family
I have to
legacy
agree.
people. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yep.
MC1.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I have to agree. And the movie is pretty dope. I'm gonna definitely go check it out. And also too, yeah, I mean, this is also what other cultures and also the enemy depends on. They depend on us, specifically as black men, not being able to have a family oriented or family culture. That means that we are just pretty much out here by ourselves. And so when it comes up to a battle, well, now we're just out here defend us for ourselves by ourselves.
Anybody else?
Yeah, if I may, Bozeman does have anything to say. The need to understand how important it is to have that, to build or have that legacy family dynamic cannot be understated. And so, probably with the illustration of the movie, it's going to really bring forth those ideas and those things. And it's unfortunate that we don't have it in abundance. I'll say that. I'll frame around that, and that it is shame now. We actually have what before was something that was done inside the community that wasn't good either. We had Waiting Excel and all the other stuff, but now we verbally, social media has given rise to a platform to where women in our community can basically say, spew chaos and be like, we don't want that, while simultaneously crying, saying to black men, why don't you have that? Why don't we have a Wakanda, Mr. Latreille? Yeah, go ahead.
Let me prove your point, even in my own personal life. So my family has had their property for 60 years. Okay. The JWs have had their black property for 70 years. They were there before my parents were there. Recently, my father passed. My sisters are not doing what they're supposed to do. So guess who has to do it? The dudes with the damn balls and testicles. I mean, with the testicles and penis. I got to rechange my stuff to keep that legacy afloat because I'm proud of the 60 years. You feel me? Now, JWs are moving now. I say to the son of that property, well, don't sell it. You and I can work it. I'll take 30% and I'll manage it. But I got to be on the deed. I mean, yeah, I don't want this problem, man. The house is just way too big. It's, it's 15 rooms. And what are you saying to me? Did you not just hear what I said? I'm 2 doors down. I will manage it for you. Let's try that first before you just sell it. So let's move the topic real quick before that makes me sad. Tom Cotton Yes, in the manosphere, black men love to blame black women. But here on the Mr. Research Show, I like to show you who's the real enemy, and it's not black women. The real enemy that's going to shock you is the white man. So here's a white man, Tom Cotton. He is going to introduce a bill that increases child support payments. Any thoughts for anybody?
Tom Cotton, the current senator or House of Rep for the state of Arkansas? That Cotton?
Yep.
The one who has said, wow, he said some statements as far as black people. I'll say that. He's about bad as king up there in New York. Or is it New York?
Well,
oh God. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, take a moment, actual factual. Let Mosman get in. Mosman.
Just real quick, Mr. Research. I see. Here's the Mr. Research.
Hold on. I can tell this is about to be something because Mosman's voice has changed dramatically. It's a part discussed, and this is why I come to this show because I know you hit me with stuff. Go ahead, Mosman.
Mr. Research, I wouldn't know anything about this because I don't read, and all I care about is the attention of women who don't like me anyway. So I don't know about this cotton picking guy you're talking about. I don't do that anymore. Where the bitches at?
Oh, MC Worker, what about you, sir? No. Blame the black women for this.
Okay. I think.
Wait a minute. Now MC Worker done got excited.
Wait a minute. I think when this is my opinion, when it comes down to the blaming of black women, I think they only blame black women for using this law if it gets passed. But at the same time, you really can't blame them because they're going to do what's in their best interest. So
all you got to do, black man, to stop Cotton. All you got to do is make videos shaming Cotton. So actual factual, other than me, why are black men not making videos against Mr. Cotton?
I will be emailing a story to a few of them so we can get on Mr. Cotton's head. Because, the framework, and I've said it before, and I've said we're going to get offline, the framework for this whole space is for us to organize and have an apparatus around things like this, being proactive, number one, not reactive most times, but being proactive so we can move in a way that suits our agenda. Point blank, period. I'll say this. I'm gonna let you go. And I'm gonna say this. You mentioned it, how the white men in California let Ronald Reagan and a lot of those neocons who perpetrate as far as Republicans get in there and rip apart their infrastructure, and they cry, but they won't join with the black men. So I'm ashamed if I've written to some Arkansas boys. I'm talking about white guys. I'm ashamed of them and be like, do you know what your Republican senator or House of Rep is doing for you? You know what he's introducing to you guys? When you guys' state is already going broke. I'm talking about it with some of the white boys. Their state is already going broke. They're one of the last states as far as not considering hemp, but they have they have a whole bunch of farmland. My people got land out there. Have all that land, and them white boys want to do the hemp thing, but you got all them old fundamentalists who won't die yet. And I'm ashamed of them. So not only will I make sure I get on my brothers in this space, I'm ashamed of white dudes who from that state. Like, hey, whoa, we're gonna talk about the service. What you have to say about this Cotton guy?
Now, wait a minute. So the thing with this bill, Mr. Mosman, Mr. Cotton doesn't care if you have a job. He wants to increase the interest and late fees. Here is a quote from his bill. Child support enforcement is one of the most effective anti-poverty programs in the country. I didn't write that. A Black woman didn't write that. Lifting more than 1 million families over the poverty line each year. However, approximately 1/4, you mean 25%, of cases are not paid. So this white man, Mr. Cotton, says because 25% of cases have not been paid, you're not going to be okay with the 75% that are doing right. You want to increase the late fees and interest for all 100. Yet we blame Black women. He goes on to say, however, approximately 1/4 of child support cases are not paid, often because the non-custodial parent doesn't have a job. And how is this bill going to help them get a job? It's not going to help them get a job. Oh, okay. Now I understand.
I told you they going broke.
These delinquent or child support orders, these programs have often effectively increased child support payments and employment among non-custodial parents. So the theory for him is if we tax them more, they're more likely to go get a job. Good thinking, Mr. Cotton. This is very smart. So, who wants to speak?
I do. I want to speak one more again because I'm ready to go. See, and I told you I was just talking to one of them Arkansas boys because they was up in my state. We was working construction, electrician side by side. We were just discussing this, breaking this down. That state is going broke, okay? And they're trying to keep cannibalizing and basically having to go against some of those ideals that the ones in the country club, like the Waltons, i.e. Waltons and any other prominent families, those people who are still eating high hog. Same people who they cannibalized in the 70s and 80s. It's hard to say, bad to say, they're the largest non-union employer, but we got to put it out there. Right? You got to put it out there. And now look at him trying to extract. See, this is what we mean about predatory, because what he's doing, Ciela Trey, same thing with the legislation out there in California and drug offender laws and all that. The impetus, he knows, what's unsaid, he knows that, just as you mentioned, how is this going to proactively help, we're going to just presume the men, to get money more from them? Or is this a ploy to boost your correctional facilities populations with all of these men going home or being put on probation and some parole? Where are we going here? Is that how you've been extracted? Because you don't want to do some people keep you from doing him, which would be ideal down there, right? Because of how they feel about biblical, which they don't really give a darn, because we've seen what they did with crack era. We've seen begging in Little Rock. They don't care. The desegregation and all that in Little Rock, they don't really care. I got family that they don't care. And I'll end with that. I'll let you gentlemen talk about it.
Anybody else?
It's very disturbing, as well as also too. It's as if he double talked, because on one end he was like, "Hey, you'll be able to boost people's, boost the economy. You'll be able to help out people," and then at the same time, it's like, "Well, for those who don't have employment, they should be able to get a job so that they won't have to worry about being penalized more." It just doesn't make any sense.
But it does make sense when the whole point is to replenish the treasury. Title IV. The whole point is to replenish the treasury. So this is why Paul Ryan didn't want Obama to help you folks, because then he wouldn't be able, or the GOP wouldn't be able to do this type of stuff. But never worry, Candace Owens will be making a video on how she finds this unfair and disturbing. I'm sure she will. She's for what's right, I guess. All right, so we coming down to the last thing. The last thing. Give me 1 second. I'm getting it together.
As you get that together,
Go ahead.
Mr. Research, you know, as detrimental as this is, it these things really do make me admire the process of government relationships. You know, who is talking to who has known who from years back, what kind of deals are made. It really shines a light on the power of a social network, influence, and the amount of money you can put in people's pockets. Because politicians are definitely bought and paid for. These cats really don't care about us. And I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine in college. Her old boyfriend was involved in some law things in Atlanta. He wasn't a very powerful person, but he was involved. He was around. And he told me that he talked to some of the politicians around Atlanta, and he revealed to me that it's really all bullshit because they can't really make the changes to help the people that they promised to help. So what really goes on?
Absolutely. This last point is gonna be for you black guys out there. Do not attack black women who are trying to speak for you as black sons. I don't care whether you don't find people intellectual or whatever the case may be. As black guys, you got to start being more strategic about your words. You cannot just attack people just for the sake of attacking. Because some of these women, can y'all see this lady?
Yep.
Mhm.
Some of these women are getting attacked by the anti-male crowd. And some of your homeboys are helping the anti-male people. Let me say it again. Some of these ladies are speaking against the anti-male crowd. But some of these young dudes are attacking the woman that's trying to assist the black men. What sense does this make, gentlemen? Can somebody educate me? I have nothing bad to say about females that are not attacking black dudes verbally.
So somebody's attacking this woman or somebody like her.
Somebody like her.
Okay. Well, this is where we had that last conversation. It's the straight. Here's the thing, man. It's some nuance to it because the black manosphere has really defended sisters who they felt were advocates in a case, only to be spit upon later when the rubber meet the road. And so,
but don't you have to wait until later? Can you not make the assumption that there will be a later?
very few of the men in the manosphere just go on the attack on random ladies who defend us. Very few.
True.
I actually have not
True.
seen it at all that much.
True.
I can think
True.
of brothers mentioned. Okay, are you aware of Rebecca Lynn Pope's last video?
Yeah, but she
Okay.
said nothing bad about black men.
She basically, if you see, because we have to look at what she did not explicitly say. She basically refuted the thing that one of our more prominent men who are trying to speak up and elevate black men, as far as I'm talking about high value black men or men who are about something, established black men, she refuted it, and then she basically cast aspersions on that man, saying he had emotionally hurt and all these other things.
Here's a question. Have you ever played chess?
Yeah, I play chess.
Okay. So if if I threaten you with the move, you got two choices: protect me from doing that, or show me your power of what will happen if I go ahead with that thought. Right?
Okay.
So black men have to get to a point, in my understanding,
Okay.
that every threat is not worth speaking on.
Exactly. Mouth control, like you always talk about.
Because the reason because, and I'm gonna let you speak, actual, you're gonna have the last word. But the reason because, like in chess, when I show you that I can make this move, I don't have to just protect, because once I protect, I'm committed to that. And you might have just did that to get me to make a piece move, so I can do something totally different on the other side of the board or behind the line. Isn't that true of chess?
That's true of chess.
Making you react?
It can be. It can be.
Okay, you
Some of
got the
it is
last word.
defensive. Okay, so it can be. Here's the thing, and I was thinking about this because I think somebody else was talking about chess. You was talking about middle game, good middle game, and all that. Here's my critique on that. We should be careful because that is what contained within a set of rules and moves and things that govern it, that help govern and keep the framework up. And I think we overused and oversimplified when it comes to strategy, interpersonal, human, and chaos. Okay, and emotion.
That's fair.
Which I can't make my pawn show emotion. Neither can he show me emotion. Okay, I can only the framework within the rules says I can only move him up, down, lateral for up vertical movements. You can only do vertical movements, one vertical movement. The opening move you can do two. Okay, and once he gets to the other side, as you know, he gets to that last square on the other gentleman's other person's square. He can be a queen. He can be queen at that point in time. Okay, where it's more powerful. We keep mixing it down, and I caution that we should even compare it. We should be even doing that because there's so many more gradients or variables when it comes to this human thing. Okay, and we take it back to mathematics. You had dependent, independent variables. Okay, algebraic equations. All right, and it gets mixed up. Okay, not mixed up, but they're like grade. Okay, and we must be careful. What I was really trying to say when we spoke last time, we must be very careful. Okay, when we look with humans, we'd be better off using patterns. I know we like advocates, we appreciate them, and certainly the content creator that you referred to before, yes, we should go to bat because her pattern so far, her pattern has been that of an advocate, a real advocate. Okay. And to my knowledge, the sister is even taught in schools. Okay. And she has shown she subjects herself within her own household. I'm gonna just leave it there with that with her. So we must remember that. But these others, even her, because you said they can all go left. I haven't agreed with everything.
Yep.
It needs to be on a case by case basis. And we need to observe their patterns because there's too much deception going on because they are going off. Remember, I told you about chess. They're going off of men being more pragmatic and
True.
in most cases using a code. Okay. That's where a lot of the butt hurt is going on in the manosphere. Because men, we say we do, but for the most part, with brotherhood, fraternal, we use codes and we expect the code for another man. And this is my thing sometimes with you. I don't have no code then because they've shown me they will flip the script, crash the board over, right? I just had a conversation with a female. It went from, isn't that logical, to my feeling, how I feel, instead of a system. instead of being you being okay with the rewards and also being okay with the drawbacks. You see,
Sometimes
is demonstrating he's good with that. Go ahead.
Sometimes I wish, and we're going into final words now. Sometimes I wish Shaka Zulu would have kept that sword and taught his men to use swords. Sometimes I wish they wouldn't have had so much love with the Zulu club and the Zulu spear. I wish they had fell in love with those swords. We'd have a different Africa.
I mean, he revolutionized that one smaller sword. So I'm confused. You talking about that? I can't pronounce the name of it.
Yeah, the spear. Yeah, it's a spear. So it's just it's a spear. It's a spearhead.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spearhead flattened out, and you could run with it. That was this only purpose.
Right.
So it was flattered out. It was wider. It was like your machete with the longer handle. It was like your Bowie knife in Australia with a longer blade, thicker blade, wider blade. But it wasn't used as a striking instrument. It was used as a piercing instrument. So
you're saying you wish they had not used, you instructed them to not use that?
No. They had an option. They had an option at one point in time when the Zulu generals went to visit England to have some English swords.
Right.
Imagine what they could have did with that.
Oh, with them implementing those English swords.
Yes.
Well, by that time, you see, you got to see some. I've read Dr. Clark's commentary. I know we're going on very quickly. Dr. Clark's commentary, we just got through talking about. I mean, hell, it goes right back to what I was talking about. And Dr. Clark's commentary and some of the other commentaries and scholars, again, that unique African problem, it wasn't necessarily that. He did a great thing. I love him. He did a great thing because he unified them because they were thinking small, tribal, trivial. So he did a great thing. The problem is that his fatal blow was that he, in time, because we know what happened to his untimely demise, he did not, in time, because we don't know, he basically didn't make his move. He didn't make his opening move to the friendly. He was friendly with the British. He didn't make his opening move. He should just went ahead and made an opening move on him and let him know his posture. Okay.
Well, even greater. The biggest problem with all African empires, Mali, the Berbers, all of them, they didn't take. This is why I talk about Robert the Old all the time. Robert the Old was a guy, a brother who could never be king. They sent him to Iberia and he started breeding people out. Once you become a king and you ain't got nobody else to fight, have some of your lesser cousins he should have sent his sister away to a different sector and let her control that. Get away from me. Because the sister ultimately killed him out of jealousy. Her being the older sister, she could never be a king. But it's ridiculous. Let's go into these final things. Mosman and NC Worker have been waiting patiently. NC Worker, let's start with you. What is your final thoughts, sir?
Well, at the end of the day,
whoa. We're going to go NC Worker. When NC Worker finishes, Mosman, you go ahead and start. When you finish, then actual factual. Go ahead, NC Worker.
Well, at the end of the day, we need to start thinking monolithically and start getting with those who think like us, that want to be monolithically. And also, when it comes down to it, support those who support our interests and those who want to see us, our narrative, our image grow and be better. And as always, thank you for having me on your panel. Hope everyone have a good night.
Gentlemen, on the chessboard, the king is the patriarch. And as complementary pieces, the king and the queen lead the charge of their team towards winning. let's say the king and the queen on the board, and every other piece are black sons. We must cultivate a culture based on codes that will get us towards being a monolithic community. And I'll end with this. For those of you who are really familiar with chess, what's the equivalent of pawn promotion in regards to a team of black men? And I end with that.
I spoke on track records, and it's a good thing I did, and it's something we all should consider. Check that person's track record. Okay, you do this in business. You do this in all aspects or facets of your life. It will serve you well. But even after you do that, you continue to check the temperature or the veracity or the fervor with those in your own ranks. And I think that is what we were getting to with Shaka Zulu and other heads of state, specifically when we're talking about black people in antiquity into now. You keep checking their fervor. You keep assessing. Continue. If me and Mr. Research, I would continue to check his fervor. I will continue to do that. Okay, look at all of the groups and things of that nature, the Panthers, however you want to go, Nation of Islam, before his second transformation and all that, or reformation rather. You continue to check the veracity and see what's going on. Okay, you get your as they called as the presidents in our society they get briefings. So the reason why those heads of states get briefings daily, okay, because things on the ground can change, and people have all type of intentions and motivations going on, and we would all be wise to do that. We're going to do it with our fellow men, fellow brothers, and we should also do it with our female counterparts.
Please remember, monolithic will ultimately be the way. You'll be crushed by it. Everybody else will be together. You'll be 60, 70 years old, and you'll look around, and every other flag country is working together. And you, black folks, will be individuals that they're trying to drive out. But by then, it'll be too late. You'll be scattered. You won't have no people you can call on. All of y'all living out in the outskirts because the houses is quote unquote better. And just like white people do today in 2020, they go to the weakest unprotected black senior citizens. And the minute they die, they're trying to get their house because they know your children have not been developed to take it over. Thank you very much, you guys. Much love to you. Hopefully I've helped you. This was not for entertainment. This is for this community to grow. I'm a 7.0 brother talking beyond dating and women. And women, if your man doesn't have a suit, you may not have an actual man. You might have an older boy.